Saying that I listen to a lot of bands that people haven't heard of is like saying Bob Ross was a good painter. Both are true statements, but Bob Ross had a lot of time to perfect his craft. The same thing could be applied to music, sure, but some bands just can't wait that long. They have to be really fucking good right out the gate. A few honourable mentions go to Slaves, the UK one or the US one, Seaway, Beartooth, as it is, and Waster. All are damn good, don't get me wrong, I just didn't have enough room to put them on the list. I'm sorry, but the ones on the list are really good, I promise. Now, without further ado, these are my 10 favourite bands under 10 years old, or less than 10 years into their career, whichever one you want to call it. Let's go. Number 10, Pup. It feels a bit strange to put Pup here, especially since the only album I've heard by them is Morbid Stuff, which came out this year, but they're on the list because A, Morbid Stuff fucking rules, and B, it feels sort of appropriate to put them here since they first formed in 2010. Hailing from Canada, they've been honing their raw and honest style of pop punk / emo / indie rock music that's as unabashedly catchy as it is gut-punching and realistic. I'm definitely going to go back over their older albums, believe you me, and I really hope they sound as good as Morbid Stuff, because Morbid Stuff is good. Number 9, Venom Prison. Another band that hasn't been around long, Venom Prison are a grindcore-leaning death metal band from South Wales. As someone who likes to understand what I'm hearing, I was surprised when their second album this year, Sam Sorrow, turned out to be brilliant. The band have only been around for about half a decade, but they're poised to break through as one of the best female-fronted bands in metal music, with a blistering, uncompromising sound, visceral lyrics, and sickening technicality. I mean, it's just gross how good their new album is. Ugh. But good gross. Really good gross. Number 8, The Interrupters. First formed in 2012, The Interrupters are another female-led band and also the last one on this list, spoiler alert. Headed up by Amy Interrupter, not a real name obviously, on lead vocals, and the Bavona brothers on bass guitar and drums, this charming little ska punk outfit put out one of my favourite albums in 2018 in Fight the Good Fight. With their natural charisma, catchy tunes, and surprisingly accessible sound, The Interrupters are 3 albums into what is so far a very promising career for them, and if they stick with their record label of Hellcat, that could elevate themselves a little bit more. We'll see. Number 7, Blood Eve. These guys are going to tie into another band that we'll get into later as to how I discovered them, but those who watch my usual content would know how beforehand. I'll explain that in a bit. Regardless, though, during the new metalcore wave that's been around since late 2016, 2 years more than the band has existed, these guys aren't a name that often comes to mind, which is a shame since their second album this year, Starve, is so damn good. Blood Eve's crunching sound, passionate lyrics, and dark tone are perfect fix for the genre, and as far as I'm concerned, the sky's the limit for them. Especially if they continue to elevate on how damn good Starve is, which is definitely, in my opinion, a top 10 candidate for 2019. Number 6, Rome. Rome are steadily becoming one of my favourite British pop-punk bands in a while, which is odd since I thought their debut album Backbone was okay. It was good, not great. Then they released Great Heights and Nosedives a year and a half later, and I took back any discs that I had before, and their third album this year, Smile Wide, may have quelled those doubts completely. The band are catchy, witty, and also they're really good at recognising those that paved the way for them beforehand in pop-punk, so kudos to Rome for recognising that. And kudos to them for having a really good career and continuing to, polish out the bits that they know that they needed to work on. So, yeah. Number 5, Starset. To be honest, what can I say about Starset that millions of people haven't already said about them? With a couple of exceptions, these guys might be the most popular band on this list. Given their popularity and the fact that their third album is right around the corner, well, it's come out now, it's really good, you'd be forgiven for not knowing that they've only been around for about 6 years, arguably one of the biggest and boldest mod rock bands in the game, with an almost MCU soundtrack feel to their overall sound. Starset might remain a permanent fixture on my top albums lists for as long as they're around, especially if Divisions is anything to go by. Number 4, Cane Hill. There is a band from New Orleans they call Cane Hill. For a band who got their name from an abandoned psychiatric hospital in the UK, and yes, that's true, you'd expect a heavy sound from these guys, which is exactly what you get. They've been around for a scant 8 years, but what makes these guys different in terms of the new metalcore wave is their willingness to experiment with the genre, adding swampier styles, they are from New Orleans after all, some acid rock, punk rock, and a surprising amount of awareness and emotion, and always improving too. Damn, Cane Hill, you awesome, and slightly scary. I fear you in the best way. Number 3, Trash Boat. A lot of the pop punk that comes from Britain is often in the veins of bands like Waster, Rome, and even Seaway, who are from Canada, so it's a bit surprising to know that Trash Boat, who got their name from Regular Show, keep that in mind, are one of the darker bands from the UK to play that genre, thanks to lead singer Toby Duncan's emotive vocals and strong lyrics, and solid work from everyone else too, obviously. Not enough people are talking about Trash Boat, despite the fact that both their albums they've released so far, Not the Only Right You Could Teach What You've Been Through in 2018's Amazing Crown Chinas, are both top-notch. Maybe that'll change one day. You know, the thing about people not talking enough about them. I really hope it does, because they deserve to be talked about. Number 2, Neck Deep. I don't think there's any band more marked for success than Neck Deep. They formed in 2012, released their Rain and Joy EP that year, then the History of Bad Decisions EP only 5 months later. Then came their 2014 debut album, Wishful Thinking, followed by Life's Not Out to Get You in 2015, and The Peace and the Panic in 2017. And with a damn catchy new song released in 2019, that's just the words, a damn catchy new song is not an album, and a possible new album out later this year too, maybe Neck Deep, or maybe Britain's best pop-punk band. Possibly. No, they totally are. They're really fucking good. People should, people like them, and it's not hard to see why. They're just really, really cool. Really cool blokes. And number 1, The Fever 333. Yeah, it's just not fair, is it? We start with technically the oldest band on the list with Pup, and end with the youngest band, Fever 333. They've only been around for 2 years, and they're already making massive waves with their politically charged style, interspersed with introspection about the world that we live in. After lead singer Jason Butler's old band Let Live split, people were uncertain where he'd wind up, and thanks to help from guitarist Steve Harrison from The Chariot and drummer Ari Kimproto from Night Verses, this trio dropped the awesome Made in America EP last year, and at the start of this year, they had the nerve to release their fantastic full-length debut in Strength in Numbers. Which is definitely going in the top 5 of this year, because Fever 333 are that good. Not bad for a band who are, not even a quarter of a decade into their career. That makes me sad. It really does. But good. No, it just makes me sad how good they are. Anyway, that's it for the main list. I hope you like this video. I would like to do more top 10s focused on music and bands that I like, certain things like improvements and overtime and stuff. I'll come up with some ideas, but if you want to see them, and if you have any ideas for, stuff you want me to do about the sort of music I listen to in terms of top 10 lists, you let me know. And I'll see you for whatever the next thing I do is, which at the moment is most likely going to be either another PVW stream. By the way, thank you to everyone who actually worked on one on Monday. And it's either going to be that or another Fight of the Night review, if there's a Fight of the Night this weekend to review. And then after that, probably the next top 10 lists, which is going to be the best albums of 2011. I'm looking forward to doing those. I really am. And obviously 2012, 2013, 2015. So, as always, I'll see you for that, and thank you for listening. You're awesome. Bye-bye.